I have a slash kit right here. This is an actual kit. Now, the kit and the assembled vehicle, they are the same price as of this video, so there's no difference. The parts are the same. For the most part, I'll be checking them, but they appear to be the exact same parts. There's no differences. Unlike the Stampede, which the Stampede has different parts. The center drive shaft is different. Now, you do get this sheet. You cannot tell in the camera, but there's actually some little stars and a bunch of other things in here. Just different designs, looks like flames here, that you can put on the body because it comes with this clear body. So that's pretty cool. That's one of the differences between, say, this one and the other ones. The other ones already come pre-painted. They're relatively simple bodies, but that's one of the cool things about the kit. You can really customize it. Now, I strongly recommend the kit over the other one, even though they're the same price, mainly because if you're new to the hobby, you'll learn how to build RCs, how they go together. And then later on in the future, you can go into some other kits that are a little more complicated. Now, this one does not take, say, 5, 6, 8 hours like some other kits. It's going to take less, but still, if you start with something like this, you enjoy the build, you're probably more likely to buy another kit that's a little more complex and advanced. Now, in this main bag, I'm just sorting everything out. I'm going to go ahead and move this. We get some stickers for the windows and some number stickers. I actually keep these. I like putting those on transmitters. Foam for the battery. Some basic tools. I recommend you don't use these and you buy quality tools. If you have to build the entire kit with this, it's going to take you much longer than it's going to take me. In this video, you get a few body clips, and these are to rebuild your shocks. You get some, shock spacers here. So these are for the springs. It's just, they're preloads. That's what they are. All right, and the instructions manual. Now, the Stampede instructions manual is very good, very straightforward, and I expect this one to be the same. So it gives you some bit of information. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the differential. So we are going to begin with the differential, and all of these bags are labeled, which is something very, very nice. And here is the differential. Now, the differential does come with its own grease. It's black grease that comes in the differential. That works, but you can use other things in the differential other than black grease, depending on your application. If you're just doing a simple build, if you're building it for yourself, pick whatever you like. If you're building it for, say, a younger kid, I've mentioned this in some of my other videos. I gave some of my nephews Traxxas slash vehicles. One of them was 4. Durable vehicle, right? Just do half power. There isn't much damage that the kid can do to it, to be honest, at half power. But one of the things is black grease is going to allow for a lot of differential effect. Now, if this is for you, you may want to try red grease or marine grease. They are stickier greases, so they're going to work a lot better in many applications. Now, this differential is not a sealed differential, and because it's not a sealed differential, if you try putting regular fluid, it will leak out. All right, so we have these 2 ends right here. You just slide one in, so one's going to go in here, the other one's going to go in this other one. Now, if you notice these 2 little tabs, those are going to go inside like this. Therefore, this has to go inside out, just like that. Right. You can leave that aside. Now, you're going to have these 4 little pins right here. I'm trying to move these. All right. These 4 little pins are going to go on these gears, and these gears are going to be slightly offset. So I'm just going to put the pins. Actually, you don't have to put them in there. You can just stick 2 of them here on this one. So if you look inside, let me take that, you'll notice that this is going to be elevated and those are going to be sunk in. The elevated ones, you can just stick the pins in there and the pins will stay. Now, depending on what you're going to be doing, this is probably where you want to put a little bit of that grease, whatever grease that you're using. These over here, I'm going to try to put them in. Many times they will still fall out, so just be careful. But I'm going to go ahead and set this in here. Now, again, usually you would use the grease that comes in the kit for just a basic stock build, but red grease or marine grease, I believe it's called marine, maybe it's called naval grease. It's a blue, it's a different color. It's a bluish grease. Those are better. Now I'm just gonna fill this in with, it's not putty, it's just a really thick silicone-based oil, super thick, and it's just for my application this works. Normally you don't want to do that. For example, if you were to use a gasket maker and just lock this thing up, you can. The problem with that, this little guy goes in there. The problem with that is if you're in any slippery surface, for example, loose dirt, mud, things like that, even with this stuff, you're just going to spin out everywhere. That's the reason why. Now, the purpose I'm going to be using this for, that's not a concern. I'm going to be keeping the stock springs, and the stock springs, they are progressive springs, so the truck, it leans a lot, and because it leans a lot, it puts a lot of pressure on the outer tire, which means that one gets more traction, and then the inner tire and the rear lifts, so it's going to work out, because I'm going to be using this in a higher traction surface. That's the reason why. I'm going to go ahead and slide that gear in. Then I'm going to slide the other one in. Now, I know it looks like putty, and I'm handling it like putty, but this is actually a very thick silicone-based differential fluid. If you look at the container, if I leave it like this for a while, it'll eventually just set and it'll look flat. It is a liquid. Alright, so here I'm going to have to spin the gear a little just to get that one in. So they are opposite. So these are low, these are high. That's the way it sits. Now I can still fit just a little more. If you're putting grease, you just have to put enough grease. If you want, say, a little more resistance, then just fill the thing up with that red grease or the naval grease, whatever grease you want to use. But I'm just going to fill it, and I still need some space, because you have to remember this is going to fall in here with the gear. So I'm actually trying to just move this putty to the spots where I want it. So let's see, that should be good enough. And now I'm going to go ahead and set this in here. And if you notice this little hole, that pin is going to sit right on that little hole, and these two little tabs are going to go right here on these sides. So this will go right in there. Actually, I got this wrong. These go on the other side. I apologize. So just go based on the... Hold on. I'm doing something wrong. Okay. These little tabs right here, these are going to sit right on these pins. So we'll go right in there. And you can generally use these holes to align. So don't use these little tabs as reference. It's going to make it harder. I don't even think you could see them in the camera. It's going to make everything more difficult. So just use the 4 holes over here instead of those little tabs. But here we go. Let's see, of course not. Let's see. All right, perfect. And that is it. So There's still going to be some differential effect once I build everything, you will see. But again, don't lock it if you're going to be using it in loose dirt, things like that, or on pavement. You're going to be spinning out. Even with this, you run the risk of spinning out with every turn. Again, this is a very specific application. Don't worry about what that application is right now, but that's the reason why I'm doing it. I'm just going to do one screw at a time. This is actually a 2mm. These tiny little things are 2mm. Usually the drivers that you will need for a slash are going to be a 1.5, a 2mm, a 2.5, and then you will need a 5.5 nut driver and a 7mm nut driver. You'll also need some pliers, needle nose. You can never go wrong with needle nose. All right, so I'm working with the screws that are across from each other. I'm not tightening them all the way. And I'm going to go ahead and install this one. And again, if you only do the black grease, that is fine. That will be stock, which works. The only thing will be, actually let me drive this one a little farther in, because as you can see, there's some excess coming out of that hole. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. There we go. That stuff is so thick, it's easy to remove. Here we go. Now the differential from a 272R transmission, that's the drag slash transmission, that differential will not fit this transmission. If you've managed to make it fit without modifying the case, please let me know how you did that. Put it in the comments below. If you had to modify the case, well, at that point you might as well just get the other case. The other case is not that expensive. Here we go. All right. And some of the excess is seeping out of the sides. That's fine. I'm not concerned. And then I'll just let this sit, and then any other excess will come out. So as you can see, it's not a sealed differential, so some of that will come out eventually. That's why usually they're filled with grease. But here we go. Oh, these are pretty hard to turn, and that's what I need for that application. Now you're also going to have to apply some grease here, but we're going to do that once we build the entire transmission, which I will do in the next video. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, and please subscribe if you have not.
What? Oh, my hair! My arm! My rod!